If you are invested in Tesla or planning to start a position in SpaceX, now these are the numbers you need to know. Who owns SpaceX? And what will happen to your Tesla position? All in this video. So welcome to everything Tesla, SpaceX, and Elon Musk. According to the S1 filing, Elon Musk, SpaceX is going public in June, and you will be able to buy and own a part of the company. Of course, we'll talk about everything you need to know before SpaceX goes public, including why OpenAI was mentioned in these documents, among other competitors. Also, what does it all mean for Tesla investors? Is this an opportunity? And what about the planned stock split before the IPO? Now, this is really interesting. Elon Musk's SpaceX is officially headed for the public market in what's likely to be a record IPO that will put the world's richest person at the lead of two separate trillion-dollar publicly traded companies. In a prospectus with the Security and Exchange Commission, SpaceX said it plans to list under the ticker symbol SPCX on the NASDAQ. Now, SpaceX confidentially filed with this SEC in April and reported last week that the company is aiming to market the deal on June 8. Founded by Musk in 2002 to develop and operate reusable rockets, SpaceX has turned into NASA's biggest launch partner after the agency ended its space shuttle program in 2011. In addition to its massive aerospace and defense contracts, SpaceX also operates the Starlink satellite internet service and a constellation of around 10,000 satellites, as well as a artificial intelligence unit, xAI, which previously acquired X, the social network formerly known as Twitter. Now, SpaceX sees a total addressable market of $28.5 trillion and said in its prospectus that identifying and creating trillion-dollar market opportunities is one element of its repeatable business model. Now, the vast majority of its addressable market is outside of SpaceX's existing business. To understand the company, we have to also understand that Starlink, their broadband internet service, is their moneymaker. There's an $870 billion market for Starlink's broadband business, a $740 billion market for Starlink's mobile unit, a $600 billion digital advertising market for X to pursue, and a $2.4 trillion AI infrastructure market. And there's enterprise applications, a $22.7 trillion market based on an estimate from the Digital Corporation organization. SpaceX also mentioned, "We believe we are still in the early days of AI transforming enterprises, with AI-powered enterprise applications poised to reshape the digital economy." The company said that with help from Tesla, it's developing an AI agent service called MacroHeart that is meant to emulate digital work and create an AI-run software company. Let's talk about X, formerly known as Twitter, because there was a decline in advertising revenue. Advertising revenue from X, formerly known as Twitter, declined by $100 million in the first quarter as the business dealt with the overhaul of an ad technology. Now, Musk bought Twitter in 2022, renamed it X, and then merged it with xAI, and it's now part of SpaceX. The advertising figures are a stark contrast to results from Meta, Pinterest, and Reddit, which all of those had record sales growth. For the full year in 2025, ad revenue grew by $115 million. However, this happened after plummeting by $595 million in 2024, according to Wednesday's prospectus. Data licensing revenue has consistently grown. Meanwhile, X has been working to sign up more paying subscribers. Between X and xAI's Grok Assistant, subscription revenue increased by $365 million in 2025 and another $177 million in the first quarter of 2026. X started to release its new ads manager in April. SpaceX says it expects to boost advertising revenue per user and bring in more advertisers. Now, I think this is really, really important because SpaceX revealed that it spent $131 million in Tesla Cybertrucks in 2025, purchased at retail price. Those purchases followed a high number of voluntary recalls of Tesla's electric pickup truck due to safety issues and declined consumer interest. Interesting. SpaceX has also said it bought $697 million worth of Tesla's Megapack battery energy storage systems in 2024 and 2025. Tesla's also previously disclosed the Megapack purchases by XAI. Musk was awarded $1 billion in performance-based restricted shares in January. But in order to vest, the company has to establish a permanent human colony on Mars with at least 1 million inhabitants, according to documents. SpaceX said the board approved the grant, and one piece of the performance is tied to specified market capitalization milestones across 15 equal tranches. The other is related to Mars, which Musk has long said he wants to colonize. Now, each vesting requires the meeting of a market cap milestone and a human colony milestone, and all are subject to Mr. Musk's continued deployment with us through the date on which achievement is certified by the board. That's what's said. Now, most of SpaceX's $4.69 billion in the first quarter revenue came from Starlink. Like I said, the moneymaker. The company breaks down the business into 3 units: space, connectivity, and AI. Connectivity includes the Starlink satellite internet service, which is sold directly to consumers as well as the government and military agencies. According to the filing, Starlink generated $3.26 billion in revenue in the latest quarter, accounting for 69% of the total. The company now has about 10.3 million Starlink subscribers. Connectivity is also the only profitable part of the company. The space business lost $619 million in the first quarter on an operating basis, and the AI unit lost $2.5 billion. However, connectivity recorded a profit of $1.19 billion. Now, it also says in the prospectus that SpaceX has been ramping up spending on third-party cloud providers and its own data centers. Our cost of revenue in the AI segment jumped by 29% to $2.18 billion in 2025 due to infrastructure and cloud computing costs, according to documents. The AI segment research and development costs skyrocketed over 300% to $5.06 billion, led by $1.67 billion in higher graphics processing units depreciation and $1.44 billion in higher infrastructure and cloud expenses. Now, the company has $25.45 billion in contractual commitments, including for cloud capacity, but 95% of the total is for 2026 and 2027. And of course, SpaceX made its case for why orbital data centers are a worthwhile investment and said they're coming in a matter of years. This is what SpaceX wrote in the filing. Now, we believe orbital AI compute is an incredible difficult technical challenge that only we can solve at scale in the near term. Musk and other tech executives, including Jeff Bezos, have mentioned the benefits of operating data centers in space, arguing they could prove to be cheaper and run off plentiful solar energy compared to Earth-based facilities. Experts argue that space-based data centers may not be feasible anytime soon due to launch costs, lifespan, heat management, and exposure to extreme radiation. The systems are comprised of swarms of satellites equipped with GPUs and powered by solar photovoltaics. So another thing that SpaceX said, that its rocket launch business would allow to be consistently activated in the highest performing hardware in orbit faster than its competitors. It also said data centers in space could also bring down the cost of AI tokens. SpaceX said it expects to begin deploying data centers in space as early as 2028. Now, the company is seeking regulatory approval from the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, to launch up to 1 million satellites, which would function as data centers, networks in space to support AI projects. Now, I believe they got approved already, but let me know if I'm wrong. And this next part is really important too. Now, SpaceX said it employed over 22,000 full-time employees worldwide at the end of first quarter, specifying that none are subject of any collective bargaining agreement. They're talking about the unions. So who really owns SpaceX? Let's find out. Antonio Gracias, CEO of Valor Equity Partners and a SpaceX board member, will have sizable control over SpaceX. Ahead of the IPO, the venture capitalist owns 503.4 million Class A shares, or 7.3% of the total. However, listen to this. Now, SpaceX's XAI subsidiary leases equipment from Valor worth over $20 billion in total. From January 2025 to February 2026, XAI has paid back $1.7 billion. Meanwhile, Valor paid SpaceX's X $1 million in 2024 and another $1 million in 2025. Another one is Quinn Shotwell, SpaceX's president and operating chief. She's the fifth largest owner of Class A shares. She owns 7.1 million Class B shares, which have 10 times the voting power of Class A stock. Now, another beneficiary of SpaceX's IPO is Luke Nosek, the co-founder of Peter Thiel's Founders Fund. He has 33 million Class A shares. Quinn Shotwell, SpaceX's longtime president and operating chief, has played a role at the company. She's helping building the business and sell its vision to NASA. Shotwell joined SpaceX as vice president of business development after the company's founding in 2002. She previously worked at the rocket microcosm and the Aerospace Corporation. Over the past, Shotwell has developed a close relationship with Elon Musk, who appointed her president of the company in 2008. Shotwell oversaw the company through its early Falcon rocket development and government contract work with NASA. According to Wednesday's filing, Shotwell's compensation totaled $85.8 million in 2025, with a vast majority coming from options awards. Her base salary was $1.08 million. SpaceX also said it provides security equipment to enhance security at Ms. Shotwell's personal residence. Shotwell holds 5.45 million Class A shares and 7.1 million Class B shares ahead of the offering. Now, it's really interesting that OpenAI was mentioned several times in the documents, and amongst other competitors, of course. So let's find out what this is all about. OpenAI is mentioned twice in SpaceX's S1 filing. The company is listed as SpaceX's key competitor in AI, alongside Anthropic and Google, Meta, Microsoft, open source model providers, and social networks, including Meta's Threads, Reddit, and TikTok. OpenAI is also mentioned in a section of the filing that explains SpaceX's Grok AI models. SpaceX says it accelerated development's cadence, positioning Grok amongst the fastest advanced frontier models relative to peers, including OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. However, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman is not named in the documents. But SpaceX said capital expenditures in the first quarter totaled $10.1 billion, more than doubling from the year earlier. The vast majority of those costs, $7.7 billion, were for AI, and the rest spent on space and connectivity. Now, in April, SpaceX said it obtained the rights to buy the coding company startup Cursor for $60 billion later this year, or pay $10 billion for the work the companies are doing together. In Wednesday's filing, SpaceX elaborated, saying that it doesn't have an obligation to buy Cursor or pay a fee. However, the filing shows that SpaceX would pay $60 billion worth of Class A stocks to buy the company. If the deal doesn't happen, Cursor can receive a $1.5 billion in termination fee and a $8.5 billion deferred service fee payable in cash or Class A stocks if SpaceX hasn't gone public by the time the fees become payable. SpaceX can exercise a call option that would involve acquiring Cursor in these 30 days after September 30 or after 7 trading days after the IPO, whichever comes first. As of January 31st, Cursor had $2.7 billion in cash and equivalents, with $550 million in liabilities according to the filing. Anthropic will use all of the compute capacity at SpaceX's Colossus One data centers in Memphis, Tennessee. The company announced previously Anthropic will get access to more than 300 megawatts of compute capacity and also expressed interest in working with SpaceX to develop multiple gigawatts of capacity in space. SpaceX said in its IPO filing that capacity will ramp in May and June of this year at a reduced fee. The agreement can be terminated by either company with a 90-day of notice, the filing says. Now, SpaceX said revenue increased 15% to $4.69 billion in the first quarter from $4.07 billion a year earlier. Revenue for all of last year jumped 33% to $18.67 billion. The company recorded a net loss in the latest quarter of $4.28 billion after losing $4.94 billion in 2025. How much does Musk control? Musk controls 85% of SpaceX's voting power, with 849.5 million Class A shares and 5.57 billion Class B shares, according to Wednesday's documents. Now, remember, Musk merged SpaceX with xAI in February, creating a combined entity that be valued at the time at $1.25 trillion. Tesla, Musk's electric vehicle company, has a market cap of about $1.6 trillion and was previously the main source of his liquid wealth. In a statement announcing the SpaceX xAI merger, Musk said the deal was meant to create the most ambitious vertical integrated innovation engine on and off Earth with AI rockets, space-based internet, direct-to-mobile device communications, and the world's foremost real-time information and free speech platform. So what about Tesla investors? What will happen to us? What's going on with our stock if all this happens now in June? Will our Tesla shares still be valuable? So let's talk about it. The SpaceX IPO influences Tesla TSLA stock primarily through capital rotation, investors potentially selling Tesla shares to buy into SpaceX, founder liquidity, and speculations over an eventually mega merger. Now, this is what could happen. Number one, capital rotation and volatility. Many retail institutional investors may trim their Tesla holdings to free up capital to buy into the newly public SpaceX. This reallocation could create temporary downward pressure or heightened short-term volatility for Tesla stock. Number two, decreased founder liquidity risk. Historically, Elon Musk has funded his private ventures or personal financial obligations by selling Tesla stock or pledging it as collateral. A successful SpaceX IPO gives Musk a massive new source of liquid wealth and collateral, which may reduce the likelihood of further Tesla share sales and alleviate overhang on the stock. Number three, the mega merger speculation. Now, the SpaceX IPO filings reveals deepening ties between the companies, including Tesla owning a 1% stake in SpaceX, joint AI investments, and a shared hardware purchasing. This has fueled Wall Street speculations that the companies could eventually merge. A potential merger or corporate restructuring could cause significant stock price movements depending on the financial terms. Number four, the Elon Musk effect. SpaceX shares are trading with high retail enthusiasm, often referred as the Elon Musk effect, because both stocks are tied to Elon Musk's broader technology and AI ecosystem. They might experience correlated sentiment swings with SpaceX's success or struggling reflection onto the perception of Tesla's future. So I've seen a post, somebody posted on social media, that SpaceX will have a stock split, a 5-to-1 stock split right before the IPO. So I did just a simple Google research. I'm so old-fashioned. And they said, yes, there's going to be a 5-to-1 stock split. And it says it'll bring the stocks from $526.59 to $105.32. So it's really interesting. So let me know what you're going to do, what you're doing with your Tesla position. Are you keeping it? Are you investing in SpaceX? Are you rotating it? Let me know. Also, if you want to know more about Elon Musk, SpaceX, and Tesla, you could click here next. And I will see you in the next video. My name is Claudia. Goodbye.